Here we are on December 3rd. We're talking about conference championship games coming up this weekend that used to mean a heck of a lot more than they do now. We're talking about the college football playoff, which seems to be the only thing that matters now, much to the chagrin of a lot of head coaches out there in college football. Oh, and to top it all off, yes, here on December 3rd, in the middle of all that, it's National Signing Day. So insert heavy sigh. But we're here, always here to talk about as much as we can, to cover as much as we can for you guys. This is Always Talking Ball. Tyler Noe, Lance Barton. And always, real quick, before we get started, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on Apple and Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Share the podcast with all your friends. Make sure you follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. Lance, first off, shout out to us for our preseason win totals we gave out, man. Lance went 10-4 in win totals, and I went 9-2. So if you tailed those, you're welcome for all that cash. Why don't you spend some of that cash over at frostbuddy.com/ATB or branded bills in our episode description? We've got links to all that. Social media, we've got links to all of our stuff. Spend some money on there, man. Click the links we have. Spend those winnings. We'll get a little back. If you want to just Venmo us too, we can give you our Venmo too, like that. A little tip, tip to the dealer here. So that was the first time. I think you did pretty good on win totals last year, kind of like, but this is the first year we did really, really well.
Yeah, I went 15-3 our first year in win totals. Last year I barely broke 500, but yeah, both of us combined this year tore it up, man. That was a good shout out there. I'm gonna have to get in touch with our graphics designer to maybe come up with a nice little graphic. If you know anybody, Tyler, they can come up with a nice little graphic. We can post the social medias of our win totals and advertise that.
I'll see if I can make a call.
All right.
Let's start off here real quick with some more playoff thoughts. So I've got a lot of stuff written down. The live shows we do on Tuesday night with the rapid reaction is great. It's also good to kind of marinate it overnight and kind of like really analyze the rankings, kind of form your own opinions, all that stuff. Think about, okay, why do they have team A here, team B here? So I've had some time to think about it, as you have, I'm sure.
Real quick. After this, I want to make sure people that are tuning in right now, we're going to be giving our predictions and breakdowns of all conference championship games after this. The Big 10, SEC, Big 12, ACC, all that stuff after this. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, Lance wants to make sure you guys stick around because if we piss some of you off right here, you get off. We'll have the timestamps in the description, all that good stuff. So for me, it seems as though 5 SEC teams are going to be solidly in the playoff. So on the bright side, we don't have to see and hear Greg Sankey doing all this stupid lobbying all weekend on the pregame shows this week, all that stuff. But again, man, I've said it many times, and I guess we just got to keep saying it and say it again. The committee is just a joke. Honestly, man, like the playoff is, in my mind, really in question. I told you yesterday, man, any playoff that requires you to campaign for a spot in said playoff, that's not a playoff. Like, that's not a true playoff. But you said it best yesterday, man. Like, the whole 12-team playoff that they came up with is perfect for what they want. And by they, I mean the people in power and the TV networks. It gets ratings, it gets more money, more eyeballs, all that stuff, man.
More discussions, more talking, more arguing, more interest, just everybody arguing and having pissing contests on social media. That's what they want.
Yeah. And honestly, man, like I told you this morning, other than when football is actually being played on Saturdays on the field, like I find myself hating college football more than I ever had before, but I still love it. Like it's one of the greatest sports on the planet. I love this sport more than any other sport. We've got the dumbest people on planet Earth ruining the greatest sport on planet Earth. And it's absolutely infuriating to me because outside of our work and spending time with our family, like we spend a ton of our free time dedicated to it. Obviously, like putting out what we think is great content. Obviously, outlets like Barstool Sports thinks it's great because, they're putting clips of ours in their own blog posts. Like we love hearing feedback from you guys, everything. We love it. But all the stuff that goes on outside of these games just gets tiring.
Yeah, it's almost becoming like, honestly, man, like politics, like the world of politics. People are just pushing their own agendas and pushing what they want to try to get across. And I just can't imagine, like, there's like, for example, my dad doesn't have social media. He's a diehard college football fan, have been doing sports handicapping forever, like watches so many games every single weekend, but he doesn't have social media. So he doesn't get like into the mix of all the craziness that we see on social media. I can't imagine if he actually turned his TV on Tuesday nights and heard Hunter Yurachek try to explain why one team is in over another and think that that's the man that is in charge of the committee that's in charge of putting people into the college football playoff to compete for the championship of this sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's unbelievable to me that and I'm an Alabama fan, and his reasoning for why they put Alabama in over Notre Dame. Like, again, we know they course corrected. We had Alabama ahead of Notre Dame before that. But the fact of the matter is, like, that he can't go on there and just tell everybody the truth. That he has to go on there and just lie to the whole world and expect everybody to believe it. And then if you think anything different, you're labeled a conspiracy theorist. What does that sound like, Tyler?
Yeah.
The world of politics. That's what that is. So it's
yeah,
just,
I mean,
go ahead.
that's the first like point that I had here. And I was going to forewarn you, it's going to sound like I'm hating on Alabama. And like, I'm not. I'll let you be the judge of that. But like you said, there's no reason, like actual reason why Alabama jumped Notre Dame this week other than the course correction, which is fine. Like we said, we both kept Alabama in front of Notre Dame this entire time, all along. The reason he gave was that Bama had a tough win on the road in a rivalry game and played well in the first half. So first off, like, it's just laughable. Like, I mean, that's true, but it's laughable.
I agree.
And that obviously didn't carry over to the same weight for Oregon, who had a tough road win against a rival in Washington. That did not get them over the hump of Texas Tech, though, which we both thought they should have been over the hump of Texas Tech and get that 4th spot.
Yep. And they looked really impressive against Washington. Dude, he said that Alabama faced adversity and had to complete a gutsy 4th and 2 conversion at the end of the game to give them the win, give them a good win in a rivalry game against Auburn. And of course, the rest of the country sitting there going, "You mean 7-loss Auburn?" Like that.
Sure.
Notre Dame won by 100 in their half 100 in their game, and that 4th and 2 call was the reason you wanted to put. Yeah, it just continuously week after week has. It's unbelievable that these people are the ones that are responsible for deciding who the 12 teams are going to be in our sport, and then that we have criteria in our sport that could actually get James Madison and then the winner of North Texas and Tulane into the field of 12 teams. We have 136 teams in all of college football, and teams that honestly probably shouldn't even be ranked, or if they are ranked, they're ranked in the 20s. But they can be in the top 12 field,
the
12-team playoff of the sport. It's something else, man. It's something else. It really is.
So Alabama, to me, they seem to be in the nearly exact same spot as SMU was a year ago, right? SMU was ranked 8th. They lost on a last-second field goal, and the committee dropped them 2 spots. And IU jumped them last year without even playing a game. Alabama's currently ranked 9th. So if they lose to Georgia, I mean, I think at the very least, like Notre Dame, you could see Notre Dame jump them, even like a 1-point loss, right? I mean, just like I said, SMU lost on a last-second 56-yard field goal. So I also think, though, that the committee is way more scared of Greg Sankey than they are Jim Phillips, right? It's got way more pull than Jim Phillips does, the ACC commissioner. And again, you have these sitting ADs on this committee. And even though Hunter Yurachek doesn't have direct correlation with Alabama, right? Who does he have correlation with?
Say it again.
SEC.
Yeah.
And what do teams in the entire conference get to split when another team makes the playoffs?
All that money that they get.
All that money. Every
playoff.
time they advance, they get to spend all that money.
Yep.
So it's just, to me, that's just, again, with the corrupt, I feel like the committee, like with the sitting ADs and everything, like they're going to absolve themselves if Arkansas is ever in a freaking discussion. Okay, cool. But like, it's wild to me. But the whole Vandy Tennessee comment, like I texted you this morning, like he made, talked about Vandy not having a signature win now that Tennessee is unranked.
Yeah.
Because that was doors off them at home.
Yeah, that was his exact quote.
To me, it's more funny when you look at Alabama up at 9. Like, they basically have the same resume. Obviously, Alabama has the head-to-head over Vandy. They've got the win over Georgia, but they also have that loss to Florida State. So it's either like Vandy should be up at 10, right behind Alabama, or Alabama should be back at 13, right in front of Vanderbilt. Why is there 5 spots in between those two teams, given that stupid reasoning?
I don't disagree. I don't think Alabama would be behind Vandy, but
No, I'm saying they would be like Vandy's ranked 14th. Why is Alabama not 13th, right in front of them? Or why is Vandy not moved up to 10th, right behind Alabama?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Yeah, like Vandy should be closer to Alabama than they are further away, using that logic that he used last night.
Yeah. Let's take our fan hat off here a little bit. Let's take a look at the BYU Cougars. Why are they continually disrespected by the committee year after year?
Because they're not Texas or Alabama or Ohio State or Michigan or
So it is all a beauty contest.
I mean, last year we talked about
Kalani Sitake is one of the most beautiful out there, by the way.
Yeah, hey, Penn State definitely thought so. And obviously Crumble Cookies and the Church of Latter-day Saints agreed. Wanted to make sure that they keep that man in Provo. So I don't know, because like the strength of record metric, BYU is currently like in the top 8.
Well, let me give you this. Let me give you a blind resume real quick. Team A, number 6 strength of record, number 14 in game control. They got wins over number 11, number 28. They got a loss to number 5. They've got 4 wins over the top 40 and 5 wins over teams that finish 7 and 5 or better. Team B, number 7 in strength of record, so 1 spot behind. 10 in game control, so a couple spots ahead. Best win versus 13 and 27, relatively similar. Lost to number 7. 3 wins versus the composite top 40, and only 2 wins versus teams that finish with a 7 and 5 or better record. Team A, obviously BYU. Do you know who Team B is?
Who is it?
Ole Miss.
And Ole Miss is 6.
Ole Miss moved up to 6 this week after losing their coach. Granted, Texas A&M moved down to 7, so they moved Ole Miss up to 6. There's 5 spots separating those two resumes. And Ole Miss is not some sort of like college football brand, right?
No, they're not.
But how in the world are there 5 spots separating those two resumes?
I really don't know. I really don't. I mean, the only thing I can think, obviously Ole Miss is a really, really good win on the road, the 8th ranked, where the committee currently has ranked 8th. And BYU doesn't have a win that is like to that extent. But like overall resume, the whole body of work, like there should.
I'm telling you right now, Utah, Oklahoma will be a really good game on a neutral field.
Hell yeah, it would. Absolutely, it would.
So there's not some gap between those two teams either.
No, I agree. I don't disagree one bit.
Bottom line, I think BYU should probably be in this playoff no matter the outcome of Saturday's game. Unfortunately, they're on the outside looking in right now, and they got to play their way in.
So and last year they were sitting there 10-2 at the end of the regular season with a win over the SMU, who was in the playoff, and BYU was like 18th or 19th and wasn't even being discussed for anything.
Yep. All right, so fan hat now back on, for me at least. It looks like this committee is just preparing to screw the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, right? I mean, if BYU loses, Notre Dame, Miami are ranked right next to each other. Miami moves up because of the head-to-head. If BYU wins, Texas Tech is in, and neither Notre Dame or Miami gets in, and they don't have to deal with that.
Do you really time out? A dumb question, but do you really think, man? I just find I know you and I tell everybody this. The committee can do whatever they want. They have shown that, whether it makes any sense or not, they can do whatever they want. And I always go back, just one example. Alabama was ranked 8th or 9th the year that Jalen Milroe and Alabama went into the SEC Championship game and upset undefeated Georgia, who at the time was ranked, I think, number 1 in the country. If not number 1, they were number 2. And Florida State was undefeated, and then the Jordan Travis injury thing happened. We all know what happened there. Alabama ended up taking the place of Florida State and was the 4 seed in that college football playoff when it was 4 teams. Alabama was 8th or 9th, and they jumped them all the way up to 4. Georgia was like number 1, and they dropped them completely out of the top 4 and removed Florida State. So it's not like they took the 5th ranked team and moved them up to 4 or 6 up to 4. Yeah. So point being is they can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter where all these people are ranked right now. The committee can come out tomorrow and they could give whatever bullshit answer they want to give as to, not tomorrow, but Sunday, as to why they put who wherever. But my question is, from a logical standpoint, right now, whether it's right or wrong, that's besides the point. It really is. Whether you think Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame or not, from what I'm about to say at this point, is besides the point. This committee, for 5 straight weeks, has told everybody, standing on a mountaintop and screamed it, but for God's sakes, that Miami is better. That Notre Dame is better than Miami. That's what they believe. It's obvious they believe that because they've had them ranked multiple spots ahead of Miami for 5 straight weeks. They, right now, as we're sitting here talking, have them 2 spots ahead of Miami right now. What will Miami prove between now and Sunday, sitting at home on the couch, not playing a game? What will they prove that they should be, to this committee, not to me and you or the rest of the world, but to the committee? What will they prove that they should be ranked ahead of Notre Dame between now and Sunday?
I'm with you, man.
They're on the couch.
Yeah,
they're not playing. Neither is Notre Dame. There is no data point. Don't tell me that either. Somebody can say, well, so no, get that out of here. There is no data point that can be proven between those 2 teams between now and Sunday. And for all the Miami fans that are listening to this and want to say, well, yet Miami beat Notre Dame, I understand that. But this committee already has had Notre Dame ahead of Miami for 5 straight weeks by multiple spots, even though that happened. That game happened at the first of the year, and the committee believes that Notre Dame is better than Miami and has believed that for 5 straight weeks. So my point is again, what can happen between now and Sunday that would make the committee go, oh, Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame? Nothing. But I don't, honestly, man, where there's smoke, there's fire. I think it's so asinine and stupid that I keep telling people there's no way. That's not going to happen.
Well, Notre Dame's odds to make it have actually gone up.
I'll believe it when I see it. I know what everybody's going to say, but I believe it when I see it for 2 things. I don't think they'll do that to Notre Dame. I really don't. And we can debate it for a long time. Whoever wants can debate it for a long time of who should be ranked ahead of who between the 2 teams. We can have that discussion. But as far as what the committee, we're not the ones deciding this. The committee is. The committee, again, has told us that they believe Notre Dame is better than Miami. They don't play any more games. I don't know how Miami can jump from 12 to 10 without playing a game and without Notre Dame playing a game. Their seasons are over. I just don't get it. I don't know how. And I still think as long as BYU just doesn't get boat raced, if Texas Tech wins and it's a highly contested, good football game, I'm not sure that BYU falls.
Yeah.
I think they would keep them at 11 because, again, they're playing an extra game in a conference championship game. Miami's chilling back in somewhere in South Beach, probably in a nightclub somewhere, just hanging out, having a good time. They're not on a football field playing. So why would Miami jump over BYU?
Right. And for all the Miami fans complaining and crying out there, listen, the only reason that you're even at 12 is because of that win against Notre Dame. Yeah. Had you played someone different and had Notre Dame played someone different, you'd still be 10-2, but you'd be ranked 15, 16 around Utah. Notre Dame would be 11-1 and easily in. So, yes, I think both teams are being accurately rewarded and punished for the result of that game. So you can go ahead and miss me with the whole, we shouldn't play these games anymore and the out of conference and all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't disagree because, like, if Miami did not have that signature win against Notre Dame and they would have beaten Indiana State instead of Notre Dame, their 2 losses were in conference play to Louisville and SMU. They would still have those 2 losses to Louisville and SMU. They would still not be in the ACC Championship game, and they would not have a major signature win against a really good Notre Dame team. And you're right. They would be ranked probably behind Utah.
Yeah.
They would be ranked behind Utah with 2 losses if they didn't have that win against Notre Dame. And you're right. If Notre Dame was 11-1, they would be ranked probably 6th, 7th, something like that. They'd be ranked somewhere around Ole Miss and A&M.
Yeah.
Probably right behind. Actually, they'd be ranked right behind A&M. That's where they would be. They'd be 8 right now.
Yeah. And hosting a game in South Bend.
Yep.
All right, that's all I got. You want to talk about some ball?
Let's talk about some games on the field, man. We got some good ones coming up this Saturday.
Let's start off with the Big Ten Championship. Number 1, Ohio State versus number 2, Indiana. 8 o'clock Eastern kickoff on Fox. Ohio State currently minus 4.5 point favorites with a total of 47.5. What a fantastic matchup on paper here, dude. IU's number 2 offense going against Ohio State's number 1 defense. Ohio State number 13 offense going up against IU's number 2 defense. I mean, opponent adjusted per play with pick 6 previews. He does his pick 6 plus throughout the season. You've got the number 1 and number 2 passing offenses in the country. Big question for me is, what will Indiana learn, if anything? Will they learn from their matchup with the Buckeyes a year ago? Those completely different teams, completely different schemes on defenses and offenses because they, turned over but like just kind of entering the game and little Indiana going up against the behemoth that is Ohio State. What will Cignetti and crew do to get their mindset right, to be like, we are not underdogs in this game like we were last year? I mean, they were 10.5, 11.5 last year in Columbus, like point underdogs. Yeah. So it's a solid 4.5 point spread neutral. Like that's a good game. So what can he get through to his guys? Like, let's fear no one. Like, we're not going to take a back seat in this game.
I think you can bank and count on that Curt Cignetti will not allow Indiana to go into this game and think that they should take a back seat to him, just like when they went to Oregon and had the attitude that they had going into that Oregon game. We talked about it we every time we talk about Indiana, we always bring this up. I'm going to pat us on the back again. We told everybody in the offseason that Indiana was going to be a better football team this year than they were last year. We did not know that would equate to an undefeated season or anything like that. But on paper, the talent that Indiana was going to put on the field this year, they were better. And that is because of Fernando Mendoza, the talent that he is. And I think that right there, that and the fact that Indiana upgraded their offensive line in the offseason, because in the 2 matchups that they lost last year against Notre Dame and against Ohio State, the 2 teams that eventually played for the national championship last year, the biggest matchup, like mismatch in those games, was Indiana's offensive line could not stand up against Ohio State or Notre Dame's defensive fronts. Like Ohio State, Indiana could not run the football. Curtis Rourke was basically, I think he was playing with a torn ACL last year and was not mobile at all. And he did amazing things for the Hoosiers last year. But Mendoza's legs and his ability to use his legs, he's not going to run around and be Michael Vick out there or anything like that. But the dude can move. He's got some feet and can move and make people miss and extend plays. Like if Ohio State does start getting a little bit of pressure, like Mendoza played on a team last year at Cal that was ranked 130th in sacks given up and 131st in tackles for a loss given up. He's used to playing on a team that can give up some pressures and still being able to succeed under pressure. So, but again, the way that Indiana runs that offense with that RPO, like this is going to be the best test by far that Ohio State has faced offensively this year. Because in the Big Ten, there's not like, I saw somebody today, man, saying that Ohio State's defense is like they faced a really good offense already and like with a really good quarterback in Illinois earlier this year. And I said, well, we're talking about the same team that Indiana literally beat by half a hundy.
Yeah.
Like, come on. No. And I know that our boy out there at Washington and Jed Fish and that crew, they're solid offense, man. But they're not this Indiana offense. They're not as complete as this Indiana offense. So I'm really intrigued to see. That is where Cignetti's offense needs to be able to have success running the football to like that for that RPO to work. The first letter, the acronym of RPO, what does that stand for, Tyler?
Run.
They got to be able to run. And they need to be able to have success. Now, I don't think they need to be able to just they're not going to. Nobody's going to line up and just pound the football in Ohio State. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
But to be able to have just a little bit of success to be able to keep them honest to the way they have to respect the run. That'll be huge for Indiana in this game, to where they just can't just sit back and key on all you can do is throw the football. Even like a 3-yard run is major success against this Buckeye defense, just to be able to keep them honest. And dude, it's a freaking number 1 versus number 2. Your best players have to make plays, man.
Yeah.
Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper Jr. and Fernando Mendoza and those backs have to step up and be great if they want to slay the giant in Ohio State.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is that Ohio State, they play at the slowest pace of any Power 4 team. They average 31.8 seconds per play. Indiana's 62nd out of 68 at 29.4 seconds per play. And why that's important is that these teams, again, they rank 1 and 2 in nearly everything. They're first and second and third down conversions. Both of them are converting 55% of their third downs on offense. And they're separated by 0.06%. So Ohio State's 1, Indiana's 2. So the offenses play slow and they extend drives and they're able to just lean on you in the second half. Like Ohio State has had some close games at half against Michigan, against Penn State. And then second half, they just obliterate people. And then Indiana has had semi-close games against Maryland, in the first half. And then you turn on the TV and it's 55-10 all of a sudden in the second half. Which defense rises up and gets some crucial stops, especially in the first half, to allow the offense to kind of get some momentum, build some momentum for the whole team? Because again, they're both top 5 in opponent third down conversion rate too. So it's, the immovable object versus the whatever force or unstoppable force. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's just for me, man, it's just hard to think that anybody's going to have a lot of success against this Buckeye defense at this point. But there is that factor for me. Do you remember back when we were talking about when Ole Miss played at Oklahoma? And we were breaking down all the numbers that Oklahoma defensively, the sacks, the tackles for a loss, they were number 1 in about every single category. But we talked about how Ole Miss's offense and that Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. offense with Winnedad, Chambliss, and that crew was going to be by far the best offense that Oklahoma had faced at that point. So we were going to find out, is Oklahoma's defense literally just, are they elite against everybody, or are they really good against just beating up on offenses that aren't elite? And Ole Miss's offense just lit it up on them. So Ohio State's defense is elite. I think we can all agree with that.
Yeah.
But what I want to see is what are they going to look like against one of the better offenses in college football?
And we've seen IU's offense go up against some pretty solid defenses.
Like Oregon's defense is legit. And Indiana handled them.
Iowa's always legit.
Iowa's defense. Are you talking about Iowa's offense? You know that you're making a joke.
Iowa's defense is always legit.
Yeah, Iowa's defense is legit, and they slowed Indiana down. They did. They slowed Indiana down in that game. Ohio State's defense is going to have success. I don't think Indiana is just going to light Ohio State up. Where Indiana can win this game is they cannot, the margin for error to beat a team as good as Ohio State is so thin, razor thin. You can't make mistakes. Last year, the punt return to Caleb Downs, I think they even got a punt blocked, if I'm not mistaken, or something.
Yeah, punt blocked or muffed punt, something like that. Yeah,
it was something where they snapped it over the punter's head, something like that. Like mistakes like that cannot happen, because that makes a game go from, if those two plays don't happen last year, Indiana loses the game probably by 7 in Columbus. But those plays did happen. That's part of the game. Ohio State didn't make those mistakes. Indiana did, and Ohio State ended up winning and going away with it. Indiana can't make those kind of mistakes, cannot have the catastrophic mistakes, can't have the turnovers. Mendoza can't go out there in the fourth quarter and throw a pick 6 and then expect to just come back and win against a team that's this good.
Yeah.
It's this damn good. Like Ohio State, if you make those mistakes, they will make you pay. And then you, with your defense, who, by the way, I know everybody's going to talk about the Buckeye defense going into this game. How many people do you think this week are going to talk about Bryant Haynes and the Indiana Hoosier defense?
That's exactly the way Bryant Haynes wants it.
Agreed, 100%. Just like when they went to Oregon.
Yep.
Just like when they went to Oregon. And that is where Indiana can, that is the side of the ball, man, that has to. They have to find a way to slow that Buckeye train down.
Yeah, I mean, on the outside, you got the wide receivers and the cornerbacks. You got Pons and Terrell versus Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to give Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate the advantage over any college cornerbacks. I mean, even Leonard Moore and Christian Gray and those guys, like they did last year. I would maybe even put them up against a lot of DBs in the NFL. Because those are NFL type wide receivers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But on the other side, like you were talking about, with Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper Jr. and EJ Williams, if he plays, even Charlie Becker, if he gets in the game, right? That's a lot coming at you. We know Davison Igbinosun is prone to commit some penalties like he did last week, like he did a ton last year. We know that secondary is solid. You got Caleb Downs roaming around back there. But to me, for Ohio State's defense, it comes down to, can the D-line get pressure as always? But it comes down to, like, how big of a game wrecker is Arvell Reese in the middle? Because that dude –
he's an alien.
He's possibly the first defensive player. He might be the first player picked in the draft next year, but for sure the first defensive player off the board in the NFL draft next year.
Yep.
And just how much impact can he have on the game?
Yeah. For Indiana has to be able to, like, they can't allow Ohio State just to be like balanced in the game and to be able to do run and throw. They've got to take away something.
Yeah.
So obviously they've got to be able to slow down that running game. Ohio State's offensive line has been really good here lately, and Indiana needs to be able to try to find a way to get pressure on Sayin, and they need to slow down that running game. And if they can do that, I mean, I know that Ohio State, again, they've got obviously to go to those two. It's not just, you still got, Ennis, and you've got Max Clare and the tight ends there for Ohio State. They've got weapons everywhere. But you've got to be able to try to take away something. Indiana's got to be able to, and they did fine defensively last year against Ohio State.
Yeah.
It was the fourth quarter when the dam kind of broke. But
Ryan Day punched in that touchdown with 30 seconds left, and then they had the Caleb Downs punt return. So really, save for that last touchdown, you gave up 24 points to that offense last year. That's nothing to hold your head about. But you know me, I love in games like this that are really tight, especially we'll look at in the playoff games, is like the intangibles.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about mistakes, right? Indiana is number one in the country in turnover margin. Okay. They take the ball away way more than they give it away. Ohio State's only 50th. Okay. Indiana is one of the least penalized teams in the country. They're like fourth in the country in penalties per game.
So what you're saying is they're well coached.
They're very well coached. I think that's where, again, the intangibles, all three phases of the game, I think that is where they can have the advantage over Ohio State.
Do you think there's any distraction at all with Brian Hartline leaving?
Probably not. Think so.
But that culture, they're so good at Ohio State that they're just, and again, Ryan Day, he may be calling some plays for all we know. We don't know. I mean, Hartline may be calling every play. Ryan Day may be calling some plays. We don't know. But with Ryan Day being as good as he is as an offensive coach and an offensive mind anyway, I'm with you. I don't think that's going to matter, especially when the game kicks off. I don't think that matters at all.
So if Ohio State wins this game, okay, they're 13-0, they're number one in the country, blah, blah, blah. What does it do for you if Indiana wins this game?
There's still so many people out there, the casuals. The casual nation still does not respect Indiana enough for what they are. There's some that came on over on the Hoosier train when they went to Oregon and beat Oregon. But even then, I don't think that really still got people's attention as much as obviously this would. This would be, everybody in all of college football, there would be a lot of people that would be shocked. I won't be one of them, but there will be a lot of people that will be shocked. Like, cannot believe it if Indiana would beat Ohio State in this game. And so what you're saying, what it would do for them, I mean, it would beyond work wonders for them, man, as far as like the respect from the rest of the country or whatnot. Mm-hmm. I just don't think that they give a shit about it. I just think that Cignetti and that crew just wants to go out and handle their business and take care of business. And they want to go win a Big Ten championship and to show Ohio State that they're at the same level that they are on that field Saturday night.
All right. You ready for game picks?
Let's do it.
All right. I think like most of these teams' games, or not most, but like a lot of the Ohio State games that we watched that are worth watching and Indiana games that are worth watching, I think it's very, very close in the first half. I think it's very close at halftime. For me, though, it's until you slay the dragon, it's hard. It's hard for me, man. Like, I think Ohio State pulls away in the second half, and not by away, I mean, like, I'm calling for a 26-20 victory,
Okay.
Buckeyes. I think the Buckeyes will get it done. I think a 26-20 victory for Ohio State is certainly enough to keep Indiana in that top 4, maybe even top 3. And I think both teams come out of it and they end up looking good. I mean, all we can hope for is that both teams come out of it healthy because they got a playoff run to contend with. So I think it'll be a really good game, though.
My score prediction is Ohio State 27, Indiana 20. So we're
All
right
right.
there. We're right there, man. Yeah, I think Indiana's going to give them all they want. And I agree. I think Ohio State will. Man, they're just too talented, too good on both sides of the ball, too well coached. I don't think Indiana has to take a major backseat to them by any means. I just think that Ohio State has too many answers for each question.
Yeah.
Whatever question you have, they've got an answer for it. Like I said earlier, Indiana has to be able to take something away. I don't think you're going to be able to take away that passing game and how good Julian Sayin has been and efficient that he has been. That's exactly what they need. They don't need him to go be, the greatest of all time. They just need him to go be accurate and distribute the football and be a point guard to all those elite athletes around him. And he's done that and more this year for them. And I just don't know how Indiana for 4 quarters they slow down the running game. Okay, what are you going to do then with all of this freak aliens that they've got everywhere running around in the secondary that are against your secondary that are catching passes?
Yeah.
How are you going to stop that passing game? And that defense is just so freaking good. And Matt Patricia has been so good all year long that I don't think that Indiana will be able to have enough success running the football. And I think they need to have success running the ball for them to be able to have enough success offensively. So I'm going to take Ohio State 27-20 in this game, and it'll be a fantastic game Saturday night to sit back and watch, my man.
Let's talk about the SEC Championship. Number 9, Alabama versus number 3, Georgia. 4:00 Eastern on ABC. Georgia currently sits at minus 2.5-point favorites with a total of 47.5. And after all the movement in the SEC the past 2 seasons, the realignment, things leveling out from a talent perspective, one of these 2 teams is going to win the SEC Championship for the 11th time in the past 12 seasons. So
yeah, no more Nick Saban. There's Alabama and Georgia in the SEC Championship.
11 out of 12 seasons, man. As my daughter's great friends Anna and Olaf once sang, some things never change. So I don't think it's any secret, though, down the stretch here, and especially down the stretch in November, Georgia's playing much better football than Alabama right now.
100%.
On the field, they look the part. We saw a couple weeks ago what they did to Texas, and especially in that fourth quarter. A lot has changed since September 27th. That first game when Alabama came away with the 24-21 victory. And one thing hasn't, because they did look better against Auburn. I will give them that. I just still don't believe in their running game. I still don't believe in Alabama's running game, especially now that Jim Miller's out of this game, right?
I don't. There has not been a formal announcement on that, but I would imagine that. If he plays, he's not going to be 100%,
and that can't bode well going up against Georgia's 6th-ranked rushing D.
No, I just don't think that nobody's just going to line up and run the football on Georgia, and Alabama's not going to find themselves in the running game against Georgia. Just like we talked about Alabama against Oklahoma a few weeks ago, like nobody's going to line up and just run the football against Brent Venables' Oklahoma defense. I don't care who it is in college football; it's not going to happen. And so Alabama's not just going to find themselves running the football this week. But in the last few Alabama-Georgia matchups, that's honestly been the case, though. Like in the SEC Championship game with Bryce Young and that crew, when they had Jamison Williams and they had John Mechie, and they just lit them up for 40-something points against one of the best defenses we'd seen in college football in a long time, with Jalen Carter and what's that big boy's name? They all play for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jordan, is it Davidson? Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis, like those guys. And then they had other dudes too that were just unbelievable freaks along that defensive front. And Alabama just lit them up in the passing game and couldn't run the football that game either. So, when you play Georgia, you just honestly just have to turn around and hand the ball off just to keep them honest. Like we talked about a minute ago with Indiana. Of course, you want to have success running the football, And it's great if you can. It's going to help your team a ton. But you're really just, again, handing the football off to keep Georgia and Kirby Smart and that defense honest. So we'll start with Alabama's offense since we're talking about that, against the Georgia defense. I think even the biggest Georgia fan or anybody that covers Georgia at a very high level would tell you this. To beat Georgia, two things. You got to be able to match them physically. Alabama has done that and more over the years, which is why they've been able to beat them. And number two, you've got to have guys on the perimeter that can beat them in the passing game, that can go win their matchup in the passing game. Because, again, you can't just line up against a Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann defense and run the football. Just like you couldn't do it against the Nick Saban defenses forever. Just like you can't do it to Brent Venables defenses forever, dating back to Clemson and so on. Like, you're not going to do it. So you got to be able to attack them on the perimeter and beat them that way. And Alabama did it last year at home with Jalen Milroe on the perimeter running the football, and obviously the big plays with Ryan Williams in the passing game at home last year on that big matchup that we saw in Tuscaloosa. Earlier this year, Alabama beat Georgia for two reasons. Ty Simpson was efficient as hell in the passing game and on third down. They beat them on third down. But what were they beating them on third down doing, though? Throwing the football and winning their matchups in the secondary against Georgia's DBs. So there's no secret again. Every week I use this phrase when talking about Alabama. If the offensive line gives Ty Simpson time, Jeremy Bernard and Isaiah Horton and Lottie Brooks, maybe Ryan Williams, who knows if he plays this week or not, I don't know. But that crew right there, more times than not, if you drop back and throw the ball more times than not, one of those guys are probably going to get open.
Yeah.
And Simpson is really good at finding people that are open, and he's accurate, which is what he did to Kirby Smart in Georgia last time they played. So my question is, what is Georgia going to do differently this time around to be able to try to create pressure against Ty Simpson? They did it against Texas with Arch Manning. They started getting some pressure against Arch Manning in Texas a couple of weeks ago. And they have found ways to get a little bit more pressure down the stretch, I feel like. But they're not elite pass rushers. Georgia's not. So
that's my question. I wonder, like, that second half of that first game on September 27th, Alabama was shut out.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, okay, what did they figure something out? Did Kirby and Glenn Schumann figure something out? Or is that just like a common occurrence of the past two games, right? Last year they put them 30 on them in the first half, kind of shut them down in the second half. Is that kind of just the thing? Okay, that's Kalen DeBoer, that's Ryan Grubb's offense slowing it down.
Or that's Kirby Smart and his unbelievable how good he is at making. There is not a coach in college football better at making halftime adjustments than Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
In Georgia. They're unbelievable at that, have been for a few years now. So that probably is some of that. Also, too, on the flip side of that, Georgia ran the ball really well on Alabama in that second half. Like, gashed them, bro, in that second half.
They had 191 on the ground that game.
Exactly. And a lot of that came in the second half. And, I mean, Alabama was just hanging on by a thread in that second half. And thank goodness that Georgia against with Kirby Smart and his just absolute beloved son, the son he never had, Cash Jones, that he decided on that fourth down on a 4th and 1 with all these freak tailbacks that he's got that's been running all over Alabama. Let's run a play to Cash Jones here. And Alabama stopped him. And that completely changed the game there in the fourth quarter. And I still to this day will say that's why Alabama won that game.
Yeah.
So Georgia offensively, I mean, dude, Gunnar Stockton, I know last week Georgia's offense didn't look great against Georgia Tech. It was bad.
That was surprising, too, because Georgia Tech's defense is booty.
Agreed. And I don't know. I don't really have an answer for you as to why Georgia's offense.
That game's always weird.
It is. Georgia up to that point, leading into that game, nobody that is currently ranked in the top 12 to 15 had improved more from week 1 to the end of the year than Georgia. And Gunnar Stockton and Mike Bobo's offense and how he's calling the offense and how he adjusted to his personnel and the way that they were running the football and as balanced as they were, using the tight ends, using those freak wide receivers that they've got, and running the football well with Frazier and all that crew. That is the reason why Georgia's offense was clicking on all cylinders until the Georgia Tech game. So where I'm interested to see what Georgia's offense is I think Alabama's improved dramatically. You remember earlier in the year, Alabama was getting run on a little bit, not just by Georgia, but other teams too. Like at one point, Alabama was ranked so low, like in the 90s, in explosive runs given up. And they did it against Vandy early in the game. But Bama since then has gotten better at stopping the run over the course of the season. So if Georgia can't run the football like they did in the second half, can they hold up well? I'm sorry. I think Alabama's secondary matches up well with just about any wide receiver core in college football. They've proven that all year long. Their pass defense, like all the numbers show that too, the way they play in pass defense. Like they do a really good job. And they've found ways to get some pressure on quarterbacks and whatnot. I want to see Gunnar Stockton, how much that he has improved so far throughout the season. He's going to have to be great and beat Alabama in the passing game. Can he do it? And the Gunnar Stockton that I saw against Texas and the Gunnar Stockton I saw against Mississippi State and down the stretch, yeah, he can. And it's just so funny we're talking about Alabama and Georgia. I think they both match up well against each other in the trenches. I think this game is going to be won on who can stop who on the perimeter.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I know everybody else is probably going to tell you who can run the football better than the other one and who can win that battle in the trenches. I just think both these teams, man, are going to just whip each other's ass in the trenches like they always do. And it's going to be which athlete can win their matchup on the outside, who can force turnovers, who makes the most mistakes, who steps up, makes the big play, like on that fourth down play like we were talking about with Cash Jones earlier that Alabama did earlier this year, who gets who off the field on third down, that type of stuff is who's going to win this battle. And so, again, can Georgia get pressure on Ty Simpson, and can Alabama slow down the Georgia running game and force it to where Georgia has to throw the football? And, I like their matchup in the secondary against Georgia's receivers.
Yeah, you're speaking my language a little bit with the turnovers and the mistakes and all that stuff.
Let me hear it. You got some numbers?
I mean, Alabama won that turnover matchup in the first battle, and it was kind of after that Ty Simpson went on that streak of kind of fumbling every game. I don't think he turned the ball over against Auburn, so that was good. They're 13th in turnover margin in the country, so that's really good. Feel like Georgia has really gotten a hold of their penalties, especially in that Texas game. That was one of the things they focused on. They knew exactly who that SEC officiating crew was. Yeah. And they knew exactly what they looked for. And those are the kind of details that the Kirby Smart coaching staff really puts into each and every single week of their game plan. And we all saw who the more disciplined team was in that game. It was Georgia, right? So who's going to be the more disciplined team in this game? In couple years past, you'd say Georgia by far, but Alabama's really cleaned up their penalties this year too. And they had a lot of those dumb penalties and dumb mistakes they were making. I know emotions are going to be high at the beginning in this game. You got to try to control yourself, try to temper yourself a little bit, not get out of hand and get a stupid 15-yard penalty in the first quarter. Because you may think, it's the first quarter, who cares? No, that stuff adds up, man. That stuff adds up. People get the ball more. They have more time possession, all that stuff.
And I know everybody's, if you're listening to this, there might be somebody go, I can't believe they're not talking more about the mental block that Kirby has against Alabama and things like that.
That was literally my next point. Another intangible, Alabama fans actually believe that Alabama has this hold over Kirby and the Dogs, right?
Dude, over the years, half the battle of beating Georgia is, again, you got to match them physically, like Notre Dame did last year, like Ole Miss did last year in that matchup. But you have to actually truly believe once you get on that field that you can beat that team across from you like that. And when you get in a matchup with as physical as Georgia really is, and for whatever reason, man, Alabama, it's just somebody, opposing team's fan that's not a fan of Georgia or Alabama told me this one time. He said, dude, Alabama fans are nuts. They show up in Athens and they show up at these SEC championship games, and it never even dawns on them that they're going to lose this game to Georgia. They don't even think they're going to lose. They don't even think it's even a chance that they're going to lose. And that's just what's been created in this. So I don't know about a mental block. I just think, man, again, it comes down to you got to be able to match them physically, and you got to be able to have the style of play to beat them. And the margin of error is so thin. Alabama hasn't made mistakes. Georgia has in these games. All these matchups, I can think back on. Georgia missed a chip shot field goal, and it got Alabama back in the game. Kirby had that fake punt that one time that was absolutely moronic. That was so stupid. It got Alabama back in the game. There's things that they do that ends up turning the tide of the game. It's like earlier this year. I don't think Georgia made a bunch of mistakes. I just think Alabama just came into that game more well prepared, and for whatever reason, like that offense just was like so efficient and kept Georgia's offense off the field and got a lead on them, and then it just held on for life.
Yeah,
there in the second half. The other part of this too, the last thing I want to mention is both these teams are really banged up, bro. I know teams at the end of the year, that's what every coach will tell you. Hell, nobody's 100%. That may be true, but there's going to be some players not playing in this game. And for both sides. Like, I don't know. I don't have it right in front of me. I don't know that Mike Bobo's son, the offensive coordinator's son, who's the center for Georgia, I don't know that he's going to be playing or not at this point. I mean, last I saw, he was definitely questionable to be playing in this game. They've got a few other guys, too, that are looking at it could possibly be out. Josh Cuevas, who's surprisingly has been the second best weapon behind Jeremy Bernard for Alabama's offense. I don't foresee him playing in this game.
Yeah.
Maybe he does. I doubt he does. Jam Miller is definitely banged up for Alabama. Parker Brailsford, arguably the best center in all of college football for Alabama, was running around. It looked like he literally had a club underneath tape on his ankle, and he came out multiple times in the Iron Bowl this past week because he was trying to tough it out, and he just couldn't sometimes. He would go over, walk it off, get on a bike, get some therapy, and then come back out and play. He's definitely not going to be 100% a week later. So, and I have no idea what's going on with Ryan Williams. Nobody does. Some people said he was disciplined, in trouble. Some people said he just hadn't been playing well. I have no idea what the deal is there. So your guess is as good as mine. What's going to happen there?
So Georgia wins this game. They'll probably be vaulted up to number 2 in the college football playoff rankings and secure that, top 4 seed in that first round bye. If they lose, I think we talked about it last night, probably drop down to 5th.
Yep.
Get rewarded with a home game against James Madison, right? Who cares?
They'll stay ahead of Ole Miss and A&M.
Yeah. Alabama wins this game. We talked about it last night. They could vault up to probably 3 or 4 and get that first round bye. If they lose, I think there's a chance they could stay at 9. There's a greater chance they could probably move it down to 10 and stay in.
Yep.
I mean, we talked about the scenario last night. Like, what happens if they lose by 24 points? Like, what does the committee do then?
On our rant that we had earlier, by the way, let me answer that question first. If they lose by 24 points or they get blown out, I still think that now, if they lose by that much, if Alabama loses and gets blown out by Georgia, are they in or are they out of the playoff? I still think that they would be in, but Alabama fans would absolutely, going into Sunday, would be nervous because then you actually do put your fate into that goofy committee's hand. Like, your fate is in their hands. They're going to be sitting there making decisions whether you're in or you're out. And when all that happens, there's always a chance that some foolishness could go on that we don't know about. And all of a sudden they come up with some goofy ass metric that we've never heard of or whatever, just to put somebody else in. Do I think they would be out in that scenario? No. And the main reason I don't think they would be out in that scenario is because Alabama can always pull out the trump card of, oh, who'd we just lose to? Oh, the team that we beat on the road in Athens earlier this year. They've already beat that team.
Yeah.
If it was somebody else that Alabama had not already played this year and beaten this year, and they boat raced Alabama in this game, now that's a different story.
But that loss would kind of negate that win, too. It's not going to that win's not going to trump the loss. It's just going to kind of negate each other.
Right. I didn't mean like necessarily trump it. I just mean like as far as them getting bounced out because they lost to Georgia and got their butt kicked by Georgia. Well, they already beat Georgia too.
Yeah.
So like,
it's very low
probability.
Knock them out. Very low probability that that's going to happen in our minds.
But who knows? And who knows in the committee's minds? But I don't disagree with you, by the way, that they could drop back to 10, even though Notre Dame didn't play this week. Now, here's the conspiracy theory thing that is going to come in. I could see them moving Alabama to 10 and Notre Dame to 9 just so they could have more separation between Miami and Notre Dame.
If BYU loses, Miami moves up to number 11 and they separate them more.
Correct. They're still separated by another team.
Yeah.
I could see it. And then they'll turn around and be like, well, we couldn't jump them over Alabama because Alabama played in the SEC Championship game and they're the SEC regular season champs. So I could see that possibly being something that they would do in that scenario.
Yeah. All right, man. Game picks. I hate to do it to you. I hate to do it to you. I just, for some reason, I think this is where Kirby finally gets it done. He finally gets over that hump. I mean, I know they did it in the national championship, right? But I think he finally gets over the hump. I think they figured something out in the second half of that game where they shut Alabama out in the first half or the second half. But I just think Georgia does enough to get it done. I think final score 27-21 Dogs. And
Nice.
you know my love for Georgia, so I hate to do
that. I'm going to shock everybody, and I'm going to take Alabama in this game. They're getting 2.5 right now. I think Alabama wins this game 24-20. Again, I think Alabama has the goods of what it takes to beat a really good Kirby Smart Georgia team. They have the weapons on the perimeter and the passing game and the quarterback to be able to distribute the football to them. They always hold up physically really well against Georgia, which you have to do against them to beat Kirby Smart in Georgia. And Alabama's defense for weeks now they're just not getting talked about enough how well they've been playing. And I think Alabama's defense ends up being the difference in this game. And I think they do cause some problems for Gunnar Stockton and that offense. I think that they have improved from earlier in this year and will be able to slow down that Georgia running game more than what they did the last time that these two teams played each other. Again, both teams, like Alabama has not been playing as well down the stretch and Georgia has been playing well, but it's so funny. If you can get pressure on Ty Simpson, that is the kryptonite to this Alabama team. That is number one thing that can take down Alabama is you getting pressure on Simpson to where that passing game can't just absolutely bludgeon you to death like they normally do. Auburn's got better pass rushers than Georgia does. And some of these other SEC teams do as well. Like Oklahoma, for example. Hell, even Mizzou. They've got really good pass rushers. So I'm going to take Alabama to win this game, and 24-20 is my score prediction.
Let's talk Big 12 championship. Number 4, Texas Tech versus number 11, BYU. This game's at noon Eastern on ABC. Texas Tech currently 12.5-point favorites with a total of 49.5. Do not worry, BYU fans. We do not have any Texas Tech fanatics here for this preview. We are not a Texas Tech podcast. We'll say that for the last time. We're not a Texas Tech podcast. We saw in the first matchup in Lubbock, though, man, convincing 29-7 victory by the Red Raiders. The game really was not as close as the score. Bear Bachmeier really struggled against that top-notch defense that Texas Tech puts on the field. They forced him into a lot of bad decisions, a lot of bad throws. He was 23 for 38 for only 188 yards. So that Shieldwood-led defense did its job, and he definitely looked like that true freshman that he is. Talented true freshman, but he looked like a true freshman in that game. What has Bear Bachmeier learned from that first game, watching it back on film, right? You got to know where number 10 is at all times on that Texas Tech defense. You got to locate him pre-snap every single play. You got to have your eye on him post-snap every single game too, because he's an interception machine. He's a tackling machine. He's the leader of that defense. We thought he should be, up for the Heisman for a long time. He's not going to get any credit for that. He'll win the Nagurski Award and all the top defensive player awards, all that stuff. But you got to know where Jacob Rodriguez is at all times.
Yeah, and they've got to be able to keep David Bailey in that defensive front off of I'm dead, bro. I love it. They've got to be able to
switch up.
You'll switch up. They've got to be able to keep David Bailey in that defensive front for Texas Tech off of Bear Bachmeier. Like, he didn't have time to throw. That is where that game was absolutely won, was at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. BYU just got whipped up front, and then they uncharacteristically, which we got made fun of, by the way, from our last preview, when our boy Josh Abbott was mentioning the turnover margin and the turnover battle, and he thought that Texas Tech would win the turnover battle. And up to that point, BYU had not been turning the football over. So they're like, how can you predict that BYU is going to turn the football over because they're not going to turn it over? Well, I think they were -3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
In that
turnover battle 3-0, and they outgained BYU by 113 yards in that first game.
Yep, 100%. And so I wish that I knew right now. Maybe, I'm literally sitting here searching through Twitter right now as I'm talking about this. BYU fans, comment in our YouTube, please. Is Chase Roberts, is he playing in this game? Wide receiver, their best receiver, is he playing in this game? Because your best players for either of these teams, especially for BYU against how good Texas Tech's defense has been this year. That's just tough, man, when you got some of your best weapons are going to be out in this game. But BYU, man, is definitely them and Utah and now Texas Tech. But BYU and Utah are both so good up front, and they overwhelm teams in the Big 12 physically from the physicality standpoint. And BYU has done that to everybody they've played this year except Texas Tech. Like, since that Texas Tech game, dude, that game against TCU, they just beat the brakes off the Frogs there in Provo that night. Yeah. We both had them in a best bet. Yep. And then they went to Cincinnati. I had them in a best bet. I think you did too, because they're vampires and those games were at night and they're going to win games at night. This is what BYU does. Yeah. And they handled Cincinnati in that game as well, handled them physically and everything else. It starts up front, man. BYU has to be able to at least hold their own. Like, a Kalani Sitake BYU team cannot get whipped up front. That can't happen. If you lose the battle a little bit, that's fine. But, dude, they got dominated. They couldn't run the football. They couldn't protect the quarterback. Texas Tech ran the ball well against BYU in that matchup. And if you remember, like, Texas Tech went up and down the field. They kicked like 800,000 field goals in that game. Yeah. Inside the 30-yard line.
Oh, yeah.
So, it could have been worse than what it was.
Yeah, BYU defense did its job in the red zone. They're 6th in the country in red zone scoring percentage on defense. Mm-hmm. They held them to 5 field goals.
Yep.
So if they can get that turnover issue in the first game, if they get that fixed, man, they can actually extend some drives, which, they've struggled to extend drives all season. They're 68th in third down conversion percentage on offense. They could definitely be in this game in the fourth quarter if they get both those things fixed. On the Texas Tech side of the ball, man, we don't. I think that game was the first time we all saw Bear Morton was clearly not 100%.
Yeah.
And how healthy is he now? Because I can't imagine he's healed up a ton since then playing. I know they had a bye week for West Virginia, but I can't imagine he's like 100, obviously 100%, right? So has the BYU defense noticed something that Texas Tech did or does, since that first game that they can key on and try to shut down?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Again, I'm going to keep going back to it. They've got to be able to slow down Cameron Dickey in the running game. Him and Jacoby Williams had a lot of success in that game against BYU the first time around. That's where it starts. They've got to be able to slow down the Tech running game. And you're right, man. Bear Bachmeier has to be so much better in this game. And at this point, Texas Tech, now they're either number 1 in the country against the run, or they're still top 5 in the country against in rush defense.
Yep.
LJ Martin and BYU and Bear Bachmeier, and overall that rushing attack is really good. But what did it do against Texas Tech the last time they played?
I think LJ Martin had 35 yards.
Right. So my question then again is, like, unless BYU forces turnovers in this game against Texas Tech, what all has changed just drastically since these two teams played?
Yeah, Texas Tech gives up 69 yards per game on the ground.
Yeah, that's a Shield Wood staple. And again, I know BYU's really good, also too, overall defensively. They're really good up front, really good physically. But again, they ran into a buzzsaw against Texas Tech the last time they played. I expect a fantastic and a great effort from BYU in this game. I'm not going to make it more complicated than it is, man. They will have to force turnovers and mistakes from Texas Tech to win this game.
Yeah.
Because matchup per matchup overall on the perimeter with Texas Tech's wide receiver core and Baron Morton, I do think, is a little bit healthier than what he was when this first matchup took place. The fact that Texas Tech is as balanced as they are offensively and their explosive ability on offense, and obviously that defensive front for Texas Tech being what it is. Bear Bachmeier did have 2 really good games against Cincinnati and TCU, but no offense to Cincinnati and TCU. Those 2 defenses are absolute trash compared to Texas Tech in comparison. So BYU's got to be able to protect Bachmeier. They've got to be able to slow down the running game, and they've got to win the turnover battle. They do those 3 things, they can keep it close and maybe win.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the few weaknesses Texas Tech has is it's 102nd in penalties per game. They commit a lot of penalties. BYU's only 47th. They're the more disciplined team. I really do. I think BYU has the potential to keep this closer than the first game for sure. If they can get that offense of Texas Tech off the field, don't let them drive down and keep the methodical drives down. And yeah, they were settling for field goals, but they were still putting points up, and you weren't putting anything up. I mean, they were shut out till late in the fourth quarter. But I think BYU can keep this closer than that first game. Being in Dallas, though, is going to be a lot of Texas Tech fans there.
Yep.
Give me the Red Raiders to pull this out. I'm going to say 23-13, a little lower scoring game here in the Big 12.
23-13.
Yep.
Okay, it is a defensive slugfest there in the Big 12, which is normally not what they see in Big 12 championship games. Yeah, I'm going to take Texas Tech in this matchup as well. Again, I just don't know what's changed drastically from the first time that these two teams played each other. I do think BYU's played well here down the stretch. Last year when they lost their first game of the year, they kind of finished the season limping into the offseason last year, not doing as well before they blasted Colorado in the bowl game. So they promised after the Texas Tech loss this year that they were not going to do what they did last year and were going to finish the season strong and not let that happen. And they were going to get back to a Big 12 championship game to play Texas Tech, which they did, which they are. BYU is a very, very proud football program, tough physically, well coached with Kalani Sitake. Bachmeier is a freaking dog at quarterback. I just think, again, man, that the matchup, this is a tough matchup for BYU because Texas Tech is so good up front on both sides of the ball. I mean, what they did in the offseason in the transfer portal on the both sides of the line of scrimmage is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think BYU is going to be able to have enough success offensively to be able to win the game. I don't have a best bet, but if you made me take a side, I would take BYU plus 12.5 but Texas Tech to win. So I'll take Texas Tech to win around 10 points. I've got it right now. I think I've got it around like 31-21, 27-17, somewhere around in that range. And Texas Tech wins by around 10 points in this spot.
We're going to very quickly close out the show with this other P4 conference championship game, the ACC Championship. Number 17, Virginia versus unranked 7-5 Duke. It's going to be 8 o'clock on ABC. And the sad thing is currently Virginia is only 3.5-point favorites over the 7-5 Duke team. Total is 57.5. For me, I mean, this game was played, a little over a month ago in Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. We both were on Duke in that game. That was a classic unranked team, favorite of the ranked team. I think they were like 6-point favorites in that game.
They were 6-point favorites.
They just got boat raced 34-17. Chandler Morris and company did absolute work on them, just like Duke's done in every big game this year. To me, I don't know why one's any different. I think Duke's defense, especially their pass defense, so bad. And yeah. I expect Chandler Morris to have a lot of success. I mean, he threw for 316 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first game. Virginia racked up 540 yards in that game. Virginia's defense on the other side is very solid. They are elite at getting opposing offenses off the field. They only allow 27% third down conversions on defense.
Nice.
So I just think, to me, I know it's fun for the G5. You've got to be all the G5 fans rooting for Duke out there, right? So they can get 2 G5 teams a participation trophy. That's awesome. I just think it's too good to be true, man. This is my only best bet of the week so far. I'm taking Virginia minus 3.5. My score prediction, I think Virginia wins like 27-16, something like that. Maybe not quite like the last game, but I just don't think they have much trouble with Duke here. I know it's in North Carolina, but like I can't imagine how many fans of Duke there are in general, and how many fans are going to come out to see a 7-5 team try to win a spot in the not even get a spot in the playoff if they win the game, right? So it's just it's a crazy scenario out in the ACC.
Yeah, it is, man. And like I said, because I'm also a Virginia Tech fan, I've seen plenty of games there in Charlotte and ACC championship games where there's hardly any fans that are at the game.
And I do think one that's outside, it's like a high of 46 on Saturday, and like I think at nighttime it's going to be around 37. Like
it'll be cold. It'll be cold. I think there'll be plenty of Duke fans that will show up because Duke is playing in the ACC championship game. How often are they going to get an opportunity to do that in football? Same thing for Virginia. Like, I think that fan base will be fired up and will be there. But yeah, I agree. I don't. It's not going to be a sellout or anything like that by any means. And I'm with you, man. I just don't know. Like, Manny Diaz hangs his hat on defense, and I know Duke can get after the quarterback and create some negative plays and tackles for a loss and get some sacks and whatnot. But I just don't know how much has just changed drastically between these two teams in this game. Like you've mentioned, Virginia racking up over 500 yards of offense. Chandler Morris playing as well as he is. Tony Elliott's offense has been clicking for the majority of the time, as long as Chandler Morris has been at quarterback all year long. That offense has been humming, man. And Darian Menza, if the good version of Darian Menza shows up, I do believe that he can keep him in this game and keep it close. But I'm with you, man. I just think that I know everybody's talking about all the chaotic scenarios that could possibly take place and that get two G5 teams in or whatnot. I think Virginia's going to take care of business in this game and win.
Yeah.
I don't have a best bet on it, but if you made me pick a side, I would take Virginia around 27-20 in this game, 24-20, something like that. And Virginia wins and goes to the college football playoff.
I mean, you got any picks in the G5 game? Like the American game, Tulane hosting North Texas. I mean, my gut tells me North Texas is going to win that game.
I'm kind of with you on that, man. I think that
we saw what happened to Tulane last year in the ACC Championship game on that Friday night. Army just rolled them.
Yeah, I mean, I know that some are all in that crew, and I know some are all. Both coaches are, taking other jobs,
but they're both sticking around.
They're both sticking around, and that North Texas offense is just unbelievable.
Yep.
And I know Tulane's defense is very solid. I don't have if you made me pick it either way, I think I would take Tulane in the game. Do I feel good about it at all? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about it even a little bit. A game that I may or may not have a best bet on. I'm not going to give it out right now because I need to do a little bit more deep diving into it, but good time to plug our socials. Check us out on X on Friday and on Saturday, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff, but like especially on X, because we'll put out a best bet. If I put out a best bet, I will post it to X on Friday or on Saturday. But I believe this game is on Friday night.
Yep.
And I mean, Boise on the blue carpet in a conference championship game. Be tough for me to go against them, especially what they clapped UNLV's cheeks so hard.
They've been clapping their cheeks for years.
For years, exactly. They own UNLV. Yeah. I don't know why all of a sudden UNLV is just going to turn just everything around and go win at Boise on the blue carpet here at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Everybody's forgotten about Boise. Like, nobody's talked about them since the beginning of the year when they got drilled by South Florida and they got beat by Notre Dame. They've just kind of been an afterthought. But here they are, and old Spencer Danielson and Boise are sitting here in a conference championship game with a chance to win the Mountain West again and get a nice bowl game. And I know that I'm sure it is some sort of a rivalry between these two teams because they have been both really good the last few years. I just don't think Boise wants to allow old Dan Money Mullen and all the transfers that they brought in there to UNLV to come into the conference year one and win it. And stepping outside of the indoors there in UNLV, at that beautiful stadium there in Vegas, and heading to the blue carpet, I can't even imagine what the weather would be like there on a Friday night. And I think Mad Dog Matson is going to be back in that game. But according to some Boise fans, and I'm reading on X, they're fine with that quarterback that's been playing.
Yeah.
If he is the guy that is playing, he's played well the last few weeks. So I can see myself getting there with Boise -4 to hold serve on their home field to protect the blue carpet there in Boise and win another Mountain West championship. But I don't have a best bet on it right now, but that is definitely a side I am currently leaning to at the moment.
No thoughts on the Sun Belt?
The old Fun Belt? Not to you?
I mean, you talked about Troy.
Oh, I was making jokes about that earlier. I told Tyler, I said 24 points. Yeah, give me some. I called him Gerard Parker.
Yeah.
Give me some Jared Parker, the old offensive coordinator from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And Troy catching 24. But honestly, man, no part of me wants to get in front of that JMU Duke train right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have anything in there. That's just a lot of points to lay in a conference championship game.
Yeah, all I got right now is the Virginia bet. If you look at my score predictions, like, Ohio State and Georgia by 6 and Texas Tech by 10, that kind of gives you an idea where I would lean on some of those. But Nothing to put my money on right now. We'll be back on Sunday, noon Eastern. It's the college football playoff reveal. We're trying to get some stuff worked out we're obviously going to be live on our YouTube channel and on our X. We're trying to get some stuff worked out with some other people and some other folks to try to get some, multiple streams going here. So stay tuned for that. Again, like Lance said, follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok. Post out all that information on X. We'll let you guys know as soon as we know something on a Sunday. So we'll be back for that. And then after that, we'll just kind of start prepping for some of these first round games. So really that's it for us right now. Conference previews, our conference championship preview is always a good episode. It's always fun to just dive deep on just a couple matchups here and doesn't have like 6 or 7 matchups to focus on. So really hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, timestamps are in the episode description. If you want to just click on any of the championships you want to watch, they are right there below. So again, for Lance Barton, I'm Tyler Noe. Take care. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next time.